Hi, today we're at the Willow Hide at Slimbridge in Gloucestershire, and for several years now this has been a wonderful place for photographing water rails. I can't think there's an easier place in the UK to do them, and it's got a couple of strong advantages over other sites as well. First of all, it's very attractive. Very shallow water lapping up into the grass. That makes a lovely setting to work in. And it works best when it's flooded as well, so the water level's higher, and after all the rain we've had lately the water level is very high. And the second advantage is there's a slightly lower aperture than at most hides. In fact, there is one that's very low down, but it's not very wide, so there's not much swing for your lens. But the one where I've got my lens sticking out now is at least at sitting height, so you're not down at ground level, but you're lower than most hides. And most photographers don't like looking down at their subject. They want to be level with them. It's far more photogenic if you can do that. Now, likewise, you don't want to be here on a sunny day. You want it overcast, because otherwise it's a bit contrasty, streaks of light coming through. So that's why I've chosen today. It is an overcast day. It's also bitterly cold. It's the first day this winter that I've had two coats on. I've got my fleece on underneath this top coat, with a chilly wind too. Now, recently there's been two water rails here, which has had the advantage that you don't have to wait so long for one to appear, so there's been more or less constant viewing. Today I've only seen the one bird, so I have to wait 10-15 minutes, and then it shows itself for 2 or 3 minutes and then disappears again. But they are a very secretive bird. They normally hide away in the reed beds, and you know they're there because they can be very noisy, especially in early spring when they squeal like pigs. But other than that, seeing them out in the countryside can be quite difficult. Now, the reason the water rails are attracted in front of the hide is there are some feeders here hanging up from the branches for the garden birds, and lots of seeds drop out of these onto the floor, and that attracts the water rails in. Also, the grey squirrels get attracted too, and they tend to be very destructive, and they've knocked some of the feeders onto the floor. Now we have two birds in the same shot here. Male and female are very similar with water rails. The male is slightly bigger, he's got a longer bill. I'm struggling to tell whether this is a male and female. I suspect that it isn't. To me, I think they're both males, but I'm not certain. It's hard to tell. They're tolerant of each other to a degree. But for me, it's nice to see some interaction. But when it comes to the slightly larger moorhen, there's not much tolerance at all. The moorhen is very much the dominant species. We have a moorhen chasing off the water rail. This is the favourite area for me to photograph them in. We've got short grass with the water lapping up into that grass. It's just very photogenic. And this is what a water rail sounds like. So the stills pictures are taken with the OM1 with the 150 to 400mm lens, 1600 ISO, and shutter speeds are around 2/50th of a second. And then the video, same lens, but I put the G9 Mk2 on. I like to do the video with the Lumix G9. Very typical of the habitat you're going to come across water rails in the reed beds. They don't often come out into the open. They are very secretive birds. and they have these sort of tunnels that they walk through, and they don't have to come out into the open to feed. He's turning a few leaves over. Underneath there somewhere there should be some sort of grub. Yep, he's found something. Interesting the way that grub moved up the bill. He's caught something else. Doesn't have to move very far, just keeps turning over that leaf matter and other prey items turn up. I think he's seen something. But he's got a slight problem here. He's caught that grass as well. Now there you can see some sort of tiny worm in the bill, but also the grass on the end of it. And he can't get rid of the grass. And I'm sort of saying to him, use your foot, scrape your bill with the foot. See the worm occasionally? He doesn't want to swallow it with that grass. And if you watch carefully, he's now going to cast that little worm to one side. There, did you see it? Go off to the left. Now he's got to get rid of that grass. And now he uses his foot to do it. Eventually. And he can still see that worm. So now he recaptures it. This is a sort of bird watching that I enjoy. I've never wanted to see lots of different species and count birds. It's behaviour that I like watching and filming, and especially in slow motion, because you wouldn't have seen that happen at normal speed. It has to be slow motion. I'll show you a couple of clips at normal speed. You can see what a jerky little bird it is. Always on the move, very active. Now slightly different behaviour here. The bird has got something, but he's close to water. So not only can he get rid of bits of grass, but he can wash it, get rid of the dirt off it before he swallows it. Quite a common thing to see birds doing. It probably makes it easier to swallow. I mentioned at the start that I come here on an overcast day rather than a sunny day, so therefore my shutter speeds are normally quite low. But notice here, I've got 0.02 of a second. And what do you think of the quality? Because the ISO here is quite high. I didn't need to shoot at a high ISO. I don't need 0.02 of a second for this bird. I could shoot at 200th of a second and get plenty of sharp pictures. It's just something I do from time to time. But I was shooting at 25,600 just as an ongoing test. And these next two pictures of a moorhen and a teal are also taken at 25,600 ISO. I do use Topaz Photo AI on all of my pictures, low or high ISOs. Thanks for watching.